A wonderful woman who filled in for me so well over the past fortnight, the wonderful Rita Panahi, and also John Roscombe, the head of the Institute for Public Affairs here in Victoria. I want to start with India if we can. Let's look at the debate about our closure of the border with India, although it's just been a halting of flights. The PM has said it's not a technical forced closure. He said he's disappointed by accusations of racism over the government's decision to put the halt on flights from India. And it comes as the country, India, has recorded almost 400,000 new infections and crippling shortages of oxygen and equipment. John, I want to go to you. Two issues here. The right of Australians in India or anywhere else to return home to Australia, of course, via hotel quarantine, and the ability of those Indian Australians who want to go back to India in the middle of the pandemic and freely move, as we've seen, for weddings and funerals between the two countries. Not a lot of sympathy for the second group, a fair amount of sympathy for the first group. How's this playing out in the community, do you think?
I share that view, Peter. The key issue is the first category of people, Australian citizens who have a right, who are entitled to come back to Australia. I think what's playing out is that people have understood that there are now limits to border closures. There are limits to the illiberalism that so many Australians have shown to other Australians. And the Prime Minister's right. I don't think this is necessarily driven by racism on behalf of the government. It's driven by draconian desire to impose arbitrary laws. The discussion about 5 years jail is completely, to use a term, un-Australian, and it's unfair, and it's good to see the government slowly walking away from this.
Rita?
I agree, and I think it's a little bit rich to say that's the medical advice. I can't think of any doctor or medical professional recommending a 5-year jail term for someone entering their own country. I think it makes a mockery of being an Australian citizen to impose penalties for coming into your own country. Being a citizen should have certain privileges, and that includes being able to come back, particularly if you're in a country like India, a developing country with a substandard health system that's in the midst of a health crisis.
And of course, when we closed the border this time last year with Wuhan first and then broadly China, Australians in the country were still allowed to return, weren't they, John? So this is an issue here. I don't think sympathy for people that have gone over during the pandemic, but those that are there and want to come home, that's fair enough.
I think it's fair enough, and it can't be beyond the ability of state government and the federal governments to manage a quarantine process for people to come back. I don't think anyone's talking about getting off a flight from India and going straight into the community, whether it's 1, 2, 3 longer weeks in quarantine. We're now more than a year into this and we're still doing this. And when are we going to get a way out of this?
All right, let's go to this announcement yesterday in Victoria. It's playing out again today everywhere. 3,000 taxpayer dollars coming your way if you want to buy yourself an expensive electric car and you're a Victorian. And a commitment that every school and hospital by 2025, we're told, will be powered 100% by renewable energy as part of a radical plan in Victoria. Angus Taylor, the Federal Energy Minister, Rita, has slammed this. It's not plausible at all. The Victorian Energy Minister, well, she was pushed really hard on radio in Victoria today. Let's have a listen.
Can we guarantee you this won't put prices up?
Oh, look, it'll do the opposite, Neil. You only have to have a look at all of the significant investments we've made in creating new renewable energy. It's the cheapest form of new power supply you can make, and it's actually pushed down prices for Victorians.
Energy Council says prices will probably go up. They're wrong?
Yeah, they are wrong. And they've been proven wrong over many years, and we only have to have a look at the prices on the wholesale market, gets passed through, and they're coming down, and everyone's saying they're coming down.
So can we take that as a guarantee? Prices will not go up?
Oh, Neil, you know that I can't guarantee these things.
Good Lord, John.
Well, we're used to a government saying they can rip up a contract and it won't cost a cent. Well, it cost Victorians here $1 billion. This is another example of a Daniels Labor government, and he is still the Premier, out of control, without an idea, and taking Victorians for a ride.
Cheaper, she says. The experts are lying, she says, but I won't give you a guarantee, she says. Rita, seriously.
Absolutely hapless, hopeless minister, has no idea. And what she claimed there is just patently false. She actually said everybody's saying prices are coming down. Really? Talk to anybody who's actually got an gas and electricity, particularly if they're running a business, and they talk about how the cost is such an imposition and it stops them doing what they want to do. You talk to just regular households who don't turn on the air conditioning during summer or the heating in winter because they fear what their bill's going to look like. I haven't heard too many people saying, gee, the bills are going down, give me a break. And this government is so extreme that they don't even want to use something like fracking to reduce emissions. In fact, they've banned fracking beyond their term in government. They've changed the Victorian Constitution with the support of the Liberals, I might add,
right,
to ban fracking. I mean, that is, if you actually are serious about dramatic emission reductions, then you've got to look at things like nuclear and fracking, and this government is not interested in either.
Rita Panahi, John Roscombe, thank you for your time. Thank you for looking after the sector for me for 2 weeks too, Rita. Thanks a lot.